It's Mail It In Friday.
Yeah, hi, it's Bill Lumberg again. Yeah, it isn't a half day or anything like that.
This is OverDrive
It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Final hour for the week. OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan, our best bets brought to you by FanDuel later in the hour. Dear Hayesy-B in about a half an hour. Steve Phillips coming up here in a moment. Jays, Tigers tonight. Alek Manoah back on the mound. It's funny how after a couple of good starts, you stop kind of circling it in terms of I wonder what's going to happen here. I'm still excited.
You look forward to it.
I look forward to it. It's by no means is this determined. This guy's back, and he's just officially a big leaguer for the next decade. But he's had two really good starts. And now you're on the road. Detroit, not a potent offensive lineup. You go string a third good start together. Now we're talking here. And
Well, yeah. I mean, you need people to forget about what you've been through in the last year.
Yeah.
Like we remember we talked about with Samsonov when he was waived and was down there, like he would go through a string of starts. At what point did you just forget about that he had been reset? Mm-hmm. What is that what's Manoah's number? What is that threshold he gets to where you're like forgetting that he was pitching to 16-year-olds in a warehouse last year or whatever it was?
Good question. I don't know. I'm not sure there is a defined number. It's just it's a psyche that leaves you, right? As a viewer, eventually it just stops being something you talk about or you think of, and it's got to be overwhelmingly positive because it's always in the back of your mind if he starts to slip or he falls off and he's going to have bad outings. We said the same thing about Samsonov. At some point, you're going to get lit up. You're going to get pulled. It's going to happen. Even if he was great all year, you're going to have bad games. But you just can't allow the bad game to turn into a bad string of games to the point where then you're unplayable. And that can't happen. Yet, the march forward for Manoah continues tonight. And Bichette was great last night. Vladdy was good. Jansen was good. That's what they need. Bichette's starting. That's 3 of his last 4 games, man. He looks like the Bo Bichette of the past. That's significant.
Yes.
Got to have it.
Well, their top players have to play like their top players. And, that stat you had pulled the other day when we had John Schneider on saying nobody in the 4 hole had hit a home run, which was insane. Yeah. Because we're not just 20 games in the season anymore.
Are you buying in now, Hayesy-B?
No.
The home run jacket's back?
I like the jacket. I like it. It's across the border,
the
right?
jacket, Manoah, some
but
oppositions.
No, it's the Tigers. It's the White Sox and the Tigers. You got to go through Yankee Stadium to prove who you are. Back through Baltimore. It's an easier part of their schedule, but to their credit, bats have been great. Arms have been great. Gosman was great. We'll see. If Manoah shows up tonight and the bats explode, all of a sudden you're in a position where at the worst you're going to get a split. And they just won a series against Chicago, first time they had done that in a month. It's might be trending in a better direction, but against these teams and this schedule, you better pick up wins. And maybe all it does is reset where you are. Then we'll see what they do with it. Steve Phillips here in just a moment. All right, so we referenced what Varsho had to say last night because there was a power issue in Detroit last night where the Jays and the Tigers, they did not have use of replays or dugout iPads for most of Thursday's game. And again, the Jays went off for 9 runs last night, and Varsho said after the game, quote, "I think it helped us. It goes back to old school baseball," end quote, right? So that was the absence of technology and stuff. If you're in the box, you don't want technology and stuff.
Technology and stuff.
If you're winning a brand new truck, you want technology and stuff. Here is Chevy guy, a.k.a. Rick Wilde, from the 2015 World Series.
Thanks. Madison, congratulations. As the official sponsor or the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, Chevrolet is proud to participate in this prestigious award. Along with our dealers, we are also extremely honored to give back to this sport by supporting baseball in cities and towns across this nation. At Chevrolet, we have also been proud of the latest and greatest technology in our truck lineup, which is the all-new 2015 Chevy Colorado. It combines class-winning and leading, technology and stuff with Wi-Fi powered by OnStar, sitting there on screen. To recognize your performance in this 2014 World Series, I proudly present to you very own set of keys to a brand new 2015 Chevy Colorado. Congratulations.
Wow. He is just...
I forgot about the handshake at the end.
The handshake is great. And the more I watch that, like just not watching it now, it looks like he was late to get there and he ran there.
Yeah, he's out of breath. Out of breath.
He ran there. He was on the other side of the stadium, and somebody sent him a page and said, Rick Wilde, get your ass
Right.
to Aaron Andrews right now.
Yes, bring your cue cards. And like Bud Selig, you can see him looking around like, who agreed to this? Like, how do we have Rick Wilde here giving out the new truck to our MVP right after the World Series? And that was 10 years ago. That was the 2014 World Series. It was the 2015 truck line. So shout out, man. I love that. There's nothing better than, some technology and stuff.
Technology and stuff.
and stuff.
Just...
Like that company puts so much money into that advertisement, into that truck, and this guy's sales pitch is
and he's got the cue card.
Stuff.
He's looking down at the cue card, and he's just struggling with his bullet points.
Technology and stuff.
Technology and stuff.
It's ridiculous.
Like the guy that wrote the script for him must have been at home and passed out when he said that.
Yes, because there was full detail on
somebody
everything.
in a California office wrote something out, and it wasn't.
Technology and stuff.
I love it. And just the handshake, the proudest, happiest handshake ever, right? Like, get me out of here. Stage left. Aaron Andrews is like, what the hell is happening? All right. Here's our main man, Steve Phillips, our TSN MLB analyst. What's happening, Steve?
Hey, guys. Good to be with you. I know, look, last time my phone sort of petered out on it, so I hope that I've gotten the technology and stuff put together.
Yes.
That I'll be able to get through the full interview this time.
Well, we appreciate that, man. That was one of our favorite clips of all time, Rick Wilde, who ran like a Chevy in Kansas City somewhere, given the new truck to Bumgarner in 14. It just a phenomenal piece of TV.
Amazing. I mean, just amazing. And I wonder if Bumgarner still has the truck.
It's a good question. I mean, what's your understanding of how that works? Do most guys just say, "Hey, give it to someone else"?
$100 million in the bank,
yeah, family member probably. Yeah, they probably
thing.
pass it on to a family member for sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. They get to bask in technology and stuff, and that'd be nice of Bumgarner to do that. The reason we played that is because the power outage at Comerica last night, and the fact that the Jays, they didn't have an iPad, they didn't have replay. And Varsho said after the game he thinks it helped. They just went back to old school baseball. Like, just, hey, you've got your plan, grab your bat, you know how to play, go hit some baseballs around, and it seemed to work out pretty well for him last night.
Yeah, it's interesting. You think to yourself, really, that's going to be the key, is that we do less preparation. But here's the thing. Everything means something, right? Everything means something. And so if it's something that a player believes, let's go for it, boys. No iPads. Let's cut down the iPads and not go. Let's just strap it on and go get them. I think that this is about managing the player and whatever players believe. And look, players are weird. Like, they think weird stuff. They make up crazy stuff in their head. And I mean, listen, Wade Boggs ate chicken every single day of his baseball career because he got a bunch of hits when he ate chicken, and so he never gave it up. He just kept eating chicken every single day because he thought it was one of the reasons he got hits. And so, whatever you think, whatever you believe, can affect how you play and what you feel and your confidence level and everything else. And so there's some quirky stuff going on. I don't know if I told you guys this the one time, but we were in Philadelphia, and I was general manager at the time. Actually, I might have been the assistant at the time. And I was in the dugout, and Carlos Baerga and Bernard Gilkey were there, and they came over to me with this pouch, this little bag of purple powder. And they go, Stiff, this was Carlos Baerga, what do you think this is? And I'm like, I don't know. Where'd you get it? He goes, well, it came in the mail from a guy that said he was a Santeria priest. And he said that we should sprinkle it on our bats and it'll help us hit. And I said, there's been these anthrax things going around and somebody sent him powder in the mail. Probably not a great idea. And I thought we probably ought to give it to Major League Baseball security. So let's go find a security agent and give it to him. And then I thought, you know what, though? Just go sprinkle a little bit on there just in case it might work. And so, you think to yourself, am I missing an opportunity right here with the purple powder? Because what if it would work, right? I mean, that's the craziest stuff you think about. And I actually got caught up in it.
Steve, where are you on the positivity train? I just asked Brian about the home run jacket coming back, a couple positive starts from Manoah, some homers last night, although the opposition recently hasn't been great. Where are you on the positivity train? Are you kind of coming around a little bit, or you need to see a lot more?
Yeah, so with Manoah, I have to tell you, I'm really impressed, right? I wrote about it for .ca, the rebuilding of his mind, body, and soul. He had to get rebuilt physically, with his conditioning, but also his mechanics. And, if you watch him in his delivery, when he comes set, he's got that front leg sort of jutted out toward the first base dugout a little bit. But what that's done for him is that when he brings his leg up in his delivery, he's not turned as much, and he ends up more in line with home plate. Because last year, remember, when he kept missing up and into the right-handed hitter. Because he was throwing across his body, he was stepping toward the third base batter circle and then trying to throw across, and he couldn't throw anything to the outside part of the plate to a right-handed batter. He's really gotten himself in line a lot more. And what's really interesting is that he's added a mile per hour on every single pitch that he throws. And his extension is now out in front much further than it was last year. It's now a full 7 feet extension, so he's throwing harder and he's releasing the ball closer to the hitter, and therefore it's even more velocity on the hitter from the deception point of view. And so I really like the moves that he's made. His slider has more bite and depth to it. His changeup looks really effective. He's able to throw it away from the right-handers. And so I'm really optimistic about him, but we'll only really know after he has a bad start. And then he goes back out again in pitches, right? That he doesn't fall back into, oh boy, I better go back to what I did before. You got to stick with what you're doing, stick with a plan, trust your stuff, attack the zone. So I'm optimistic there. Look, Bichette and Guerrero were going to get better. They were going to get better. I don't think that this is the difference for them, though. It's going to be now. I mean, they had no chance if those guys weren't hitting. Now they've got more of a chance, but not enough of a chance if Springer and Varsho and Kiermaier and Schneider and Kiner Falefa and Turner, if those guys don't hit, they're still going to come up short. And so I'm optimistic that Bichette and Guerrero are going to be better, but I think they need everybody else to get things going.
Steve, you just laid out what makes Manoah special when he's on his game. Can you tell us what makes Vladdy and Bo special when they're on their game outside of just hitting? Is it their mechanics? Is it their confidence? Because we've really seen a difference between the two of them.
Yeah. So for Bichette, when he was struggling, he was hitting 128 on the breaking ball and 168 on the changeup. He wasn't hitting anything off speed, and he was behind the fastball because he kept getting beat by breaking pitches. He thought, well, let me sort of be in between. I'll still try to cover the fastball, and I'll still try to adjust to the breaking pitch. And he had to make an adjustment to say, I better start hitting the breaking ball because all they're doing is throwing it to me. And if I don't show them that I can hit it, they're going to keep pumping it in there. And then what happened is he had gotten 10 hits over a weekend, and 6 of them were on breaking pitches. And what the scouting reports then do is saying he's on the breaking ball now. We got to get back to setting it up with the fastball. Go to the high, and he gets back to the fastball, and so he's made that adjustment. For Vlad, it's the changeup that has been eating him up this year. The split and the change has been eating him up this year. But his big thing, again, he's got a launch angle problem. And I really believe, think about picturing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the home run derby. Like, he sells out on every pitch, right? He sells out hunting launch angle on every pitch, and you get his best swing on every pitch. I think he's so inclined to try to make contact when he's hitting that what he does is he kind of just drifts toward the ball, and he is satisfied without his best swing. He's satisfied with a contact swing. So he can hit it hard on the ground, but when you have a 6.4 degree launch angle and the average major leaguer has 12.2 degrees, then you're going to keep hitting the ball hard on the ground. You're going to hit singles. You're not going to drive the ball. He's got to have at least a couple swings in every at-bat where it's his best swing, the sellout swing, the drive the ball swing. You know, every once in a while we see it, but it's usually a swing and a miss when we see it. Then he goes back to that contact swing where he sort of gets halfway out in front with his body, and the angle of the bat is, you know, gives you a downward plane to the baseball where you can't lift it. And so I think he's got to get back to a mentality of selling out on some pitches in every at-bat, really trying to drive it.
Steve, we were talking about drawing the comparison with the White Sox and the Jays. The White Sox a couple of years ago seemed to be climbing the ladder, and it almost seems like a rebuild from a rebuild. And when you bring it to the Blue Jays, how frightening would that prospect be as an executive to say, we got to move away from this rebuild? We were starting something great, and it's not panning out. Like, do you see the Jays possibly in that situation, or how frightening would it be if you would be in that situation?
Right. Yeah. So I don't see that. I don't see a complete rebuild. It may be a retooling, but you know, I think the White Sox are in for a 5-year cycle right now, because they had nobody that was really part of the solution. They were all part of the problem. Either they're so injury prone all the time, or they weren't baseball savvy, or their effort and focus and commitment wasn't there, or they weren't great teammates. And so they had a lot of dysfunction there. There's good people on this Blue Jays team. They care. They work hard. And, you know, you've got some pitchers locked up who I think are very effective still. And so I wouldn't run away from that. And so even if they decide to trade one or both of Guerrero and Bichette, you know, I think you get back major league ready players in return, and then you go out into free agency and you go sign a Rhys Hoskins, who was really good for Milwaukee before he got hurt. But I mean, that kind of guy was available, and you can get some guys on shorter term 1 and 2 year deals while you're waiting for some of the prospects to develop and grow. And so I don't see the complete teardown at all. Even under a worst-case scenario. I could see a retool of some significance, but where you still have some quality major league talent there, and you can still get out there and try to compete, likely more so for the second and third wild card than the division, while you're looking to try to build it back all up again.
With Steve Phillips, and you know, a lot of that is internal reflection and analysis and making a call on what you have and how you're going to play it out. And then, as you know, Steve, you also got to kind of look around you and try to figure out what are these other teams doing, who are we competing with, and how good could they be. And, you know, the Yankees had a pretty disastrous season last year. By their standards, it was a disaster. It was a mess. Yet they keep Boone, they keep Cashman, they go out there and acquire Soto, and now they're 35-17. Only 2 teams in the league have scored more runs. Soto's probably your MVP. You look at what Judge has done the last 3 weeks, it's disgusting. And they look like the Yankees. Like it was 1 year where they took a step back. It's not like they were great the previous years. But if Soto stays, and I can't imagine he won't, they're going to pay him. Like Soto and Judge, if Judge is hitting the way he's been hitting the last few weeks, I'm not sure. Like, I know what the Dodgers bring 1, 2, 3. Is there anything better, like, in terms of 1-2 punch, Soto, Judge, and the offense that the Yankees are supplying right now?
Yeah, no, it is pretty dynamic. And here's the other thing. Anthony Volpe, their young shortstop, has a 16-game hitting streak in the leadoff spot in their lineup right now. And so Stanton's hitting some home runs right now. Verdugo has been really productive in the lineup. But here's the thing. It really does come down to, you think about the Dodgers with Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman. And everybody else are the more complementary players. But when you get Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman on base all the time and driving the ball and the energy that they're providing, and then the pitchers get a little bit afraid of contact, and so they throw it off the plate, and they may walk somebody. Or then what they do is they go 2-0, 3-1, and they're like, oh, man, now I got to throw it over the plate because I got only one base open. I could be in trouble. And then they get a pitch to hit. One huge batter would have made a big difference. Ohtani would have made a big difference. It's water under the bridge, but Ohtani would have made the Soto-like difference for this lineup. He really would have. And here's the thing. Soto, trade Ohtani or trade Bichette and Guerrero, sign Soto, and build around him if you want to do that. I mean, you can get in on that market with Soto, and he's going to sign a long-term deal. And if you're going to retool a little bit in the beginning, but you're giving him a 10-year contract, then you don't have to win right away if you're signing him. You get him when he's available, and then you start to build around him the core of the team. And so that's what I mean. I mean, if they let Bichette and Guerrero go, that frees up a ton of money. In Kikuchi, you let him go because now, you're pretty much six deep with pitching and in a pretty good spot with once Yero Rodriguez comes back and Tiedemann gets healthy, you got even more depth there. So, that's what I mean. I don't know that this has to be a complete rebuild, but the Yankees with Judge and Soto, and you're right, I think Soto probably signs back there. And if the Jays get in, they may get in to run up the price on the Yankees, and so be it. It wouldn't be the worst thing to get involved with, even if you do get used. Make the Yankees pay more money if they're going to get them, and play that game that the Red Sox used to play all the time with the Yankees. So, but I think the Yankees are right now. Look, Carlos Rodon is a risky proposition in the second half of the season. The Luis Gil, the young pitcher, pitching out of his mind for them. He's never thrown more than 95 innings in a season. Nestor Cortez had shoulder issues last year, and he's really laboring to get through it. He's pitching well, but he's laboring to get through it, not going deep in the game. Clark Schmidt is the number 5 starter there. Marcus Stroman had a hip injury. So they look great right now, and they're going to get Cole back. But, there's some vulnerability still in that rotation. What's been critical is that they score in the first inning all the time, which is what the Braves did last year. And then when you do that, it takes such a burden off of your starting pitching. The Jays need to do more of that as well.
We'll leave it there, Steve. Enjoy the games tonight and the long weekend as well. We'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
You bet, guys. My pleasure. Have a good weekend.
Steve Phillips, our TSN MLB analyst. And Mail-In Fridays is brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From tip-offs to tie bites and puck drops to pizza, BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice-cold beers always dialed in for game time. Hustle into your local BP tonight. Best bets later in the hour. And Dear Hayesy-B coming up. Dear Hayesy-B will return. All right, so there's a lot going on with Dear Hayesy-B. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Insight, the ability to see and understand why you do the things you do.
Dear Hayesy-B.
We're going to go down there and have a donkey barbecue, and I'm going to furnish the ass, right?
You don't want to hide a Mars bar in your sleeping bag when there's a bear outside the tent.
It's been a while since we helped people. And by the way, thank you for the positive feedback. A lot of people are pointing to Brian Hayes as the voice of reason and the guy with the best advice.
There you go.
Is that right?
Yeah,
wow.
A lot of people I talk to, they're like, I love this segment. Hayes is actually a smart guy. He's very worldly. I don't know why that particular description comes up, but worldly, I never really thought of you as
I don't think of myself that way either, but I do appreciate that assessment. Yeah. I'll take it.
Although, in saying that, I'd like Noodles to start with this one because he's familiar with the house rental type things and other goings-on like this, and I don't think he'll be impressed with this because this is nonsense.
Okay.
Dear Hayesy-B, this weekend I'm having my bachelor party. We have been planning it for a while and decided to rent a house, have a pool party, and go clubbing in the evening. I bought a ton of booze, a new speaker, and picked up a party-friendly Airbnb so we could blast music and drink the nights away. My best man sent me a text last night if he could bring his 3-year-old kid along. Oh. His wife is currently away for a business trip. Leading up to the party, he's already agreed to chip in for the Airbnb. So what do I do? Wow.
No, you can't have a 3-year-old kicking around an adult party with a pool and booze and no, you got to find a way. Like,
look at him shaking his head.
Can't do it.
I'm sorry. Like, it's actually putting the 3-year-old in a bad spot.
Right.
No kidding. You got to bring that kid to your parents. As much as you love the kid, why is this all of a sudden popping up? You go to your parents and say, look after your grandson for the night. I got to take care of some business for a bachelor party. And if that doesn't work, you're staying home with your son.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're right. Like, that's what it is. You may not have the support around you. You know, some people live in different cities where their parents aren't there or they don't have support. You can't go if you can't find a sitter or somebody to watch that kid. I'm sorry. Because you can't bring that 3-year-old into an environment where you're going to be drinking, everyone else is going to be drinking, so it's not going to be, you know, with all due respect, of sound mind. It's not. It's the wrong atmosphere. It can't happen.
It can't happen. And I know what the reaction will be. Well, you know, we don't want to miss out on having, you know, our best buddy up there. You're not getting the best buddy of your 20s. That guy's not coming, right? Because what you're getting is the dad. That's his priority, as it should be. His priority will be making sure his kid's taken care of, making sure his kid's okay. He might shush you at some point. Hey, sleeping, shh. Can we get the music down? You can't have it. You can't have it. You can't.
I can imagine. I can only imagine with you with a few Grey Gooses in you, and someone said, "Shh, my kid's having a nap." You would go ballistic.
I would in that circumstance.
Yes.
I wouldn't if, you know, if we're just at a cottage and there's kids and everything.
Yeah.
Of course, I understand that. But if it's, hey, man, this is a bachelor party weekend. We've invested in this. We're all going to have a great time. It's a complete red light. Yeah, it's a no-go. It's a red light.
Yeah, no-go. No,
he has to find some assistance, whether it be a family member, something the child is comfortable
or he can't
with.
Go.
That's exactly right.
And reimburse him if need be.
He's a moron for not knowing that this was coming up and having it pre-planned.
Yes.
To send the text this early, he should be ashamed.
It's like Messi pulling the shoot in Vancouver. Goofy.
Dear Hayesy-B, my older sister is engaged. Hazy, this is for you. You've got sisters. They're married. This could happen. This could have happened to you. My older sister is engaged to a dude who I really don't like. The few times I've been around him, he's given me the cold shoulder and is overall just really weird. He rarely talks to me or my family. Instead, he'll just pass messages along through my sister, which I find to be strange, considering they've been together for over 3 years. Her wedding just happens to be on my birthday. My girlfriend had planned a trip for my birthday already, which is our tradition, and absolutely despises this guy. When my sister asked me about my availability for the wedding, I hesitated and still haven't given an answer. How do I keep my sister and girlfriend happy?
It's very simple. You're going to the wedding.
No, but what if he says, you know what, I'm making a stand? Sometimes you got to...
There's no stand because now this guy's marrying into the family, okay?
Yeah, there is a stand, Hayes. You could say, I can't stand this guy, and this is the way he's behaving, and the stand I'm making is I'm not coming to the wedding. Okay. You're going to have problems after that.
Oh, and you know who you're going to have problems with? Because then you've made a statement to your sister. Forget the guy.
Yeah.
What you said to your sister is, you're not important enough to me that this guy that I don't like, I'm not coming. And then your mom, then your dad, then your other sisters snap out of it, grow up, and you're going to the wedding. Okay? You're not going to some trip, you know, because it's your birthday. I understand if you're like, I'm lucky I'm not in that situation. I have brother-in-laws. They're all amazing. They're all like dear friends, love them. I could hang out with them anywhere.
Are you just saying that because you have to?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
No, he does. He hangs out with his brother-in-law all the time.
They're the best. I got really, really lucky, and it is a huge. It is an uncertainty, man. You don't know what you're walking into. You have no idea, and you can't control it.
Serious problem on your hands.
But this is one. You got to snap out of it. Doesn't mean you got to be best friends. Doesn't mean and don't make it awkward. It's not your day. You know, we always say this kind of stuff. Grow up. It's not your day. Put your suit on. Show up on time. Have a smile. Have fun with everyone else, and then leave. And then do your birthday thing the next weekend. Simple.
Exactly. You
Simple.
shut your mouth. You shut your mouth and you fake it to make
yes.
it.
You don't have to like the guy. You know, and I don't know what this guy's story is. What's his deal? He's creepy. You know, you don't need that kind of activity in your life. I understand that, but it's not your choice.
That's why you're the GOAT, Hayesy-B. That's why you're the GOAT.
Thank you.
My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years. I've been waiting to go to an Oilers playoff game for years, and I finally have the opportunity to afford tickets. Game 3 is on the same day as her birthday. I wanted to do something special for her this year, but I wanted to go to the game as well and invited her. She made a comment basically saying that I was treating myself and not her, and that she wasn't interested. I still bought them, and I thought I would just take my friend. I still offered to take her out for lunch or an early dinner and celebrate in a different night, but she told me not to bother, by the way, which is code for I hate your guts and I never want to be around you again. She clearly is upset. How do I turn this around?
Okay, so refresh my memory. Is this girlfriend, wife?
It's his girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah. They've been together for 3 years.
Not the woman for you. I'm sorry. Who on earth doesn't want to go to an Oilers playoff game?
That is the strongest statement that's ever been said on this
I hate
show.
to just
You just said it's not the woman for you.
It's not, because I find that remarkably selfish, but also just crazy. Do you know how cool it is to go to a playoff game in the third round? You know how cool it is to go to a preseason game? You know how wild that building's going to be, how fun that night's going to be? You go for dinner beforehand, you get in the building, play the 50-50. Like, what a night. And you're telling me it's being spun as you're selfish and you're stupid and I'm mad at you? I find that hard to believe. I almost find it impossible to believe. Because I can't think of a better date night.
Maybe she's just not a hockey fan.
I understand that. I get it.
Take her
it's
out
fine
the night before.
But it's
Take
the
her out
event.
Sunday night.
Guys, you guys are talking like men. You got to understand the feminine side to this. She's like, you know what? It's my birthday. I want some personal attention. And all you can think about is those damn Edmonton Oilers.
Well, hold on a second.
That's why you're not being sensitive.
No,
Maybe I'm off on this.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
What you're thinking about, yes, obviously we're thinking about it from the man side because we are on the man side. But my point is, what Hayes said, she's not the girl for you. The reason being is if you had a relationship where she knows you, you know her, then hey, I know how big of a fan you are. I know how cool this is. We'll celebrate my birthday the night before, the night after, something like that. To me, there's a give and take within the relationship where it's not just, it's my birthday and to hell with anything else on earth. She could celebrate her birthday the night before. You could stay up till midnight where it pours into her birthday. You celebrate with a little champagne and you click glasses and go, happy birthday, babe. I'm going to the game tomorrow.
Why can't she go to the game? This is what
she might hate hockey. I wouldn't want to go to a fashion show, Hayes, if it was...
Okay, I guess there are examples, but I'll bring up Taylor Swift again. I'm not a Swiftie, not a Taylor Swift fan. I would, if I...
That's a lie.
I'm not. I mean, she's got some good tunes. I'll admit that, but it was an unbelievable show.
Experience,
and it was an experience. I went to see Taylor Swift. I'm in there. I'm like, this is amazing. That's what I'm saying. Oilers Game 3. It's not. You don't even have to know what's going on or care. If you're from Edmonton, that's it.
Put a McJesus jersey on and have fun.
That's all I'm saying. You don't have to. You don't have to face paint. You don't have to be there 2 hours before the game. You don't have to start the wave. But the idea that you're in the building, the epicenter of Edmonton nightlife, sports, social, everything's Oilers. Even if you hate hockey, hate the Oilers, you're like, I'm going to the game. This is incredible.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around that. I understand it. I'm a sports guy. I get it. So maybe there's an element of ignorance to it. But for me, it's not
it's
just an unbelievable idea for a birthday night. Hey, we're going to see the Oilers Game 3. What a night.
Here's the reality of it too. Is probably her friends and or his friends are all doing some sort of either going to the game, going to the watch party, doing something because the city is shut down for these
Oilers,
games.
Right?
It's all for that night. So if anything, what you say to her is like, okay, come to the game because we're going to go out for your birthday after the game. dinner before, all of our buddies.
Yes.
Some people may be going to the game. Some people may be going to the watch party, or they might be just sitting and watching it at a Boston Pizza. You can make it about her birthday, but celebrating the game around it.
It just seems like a perfect night. For me, it seems like a perfect night.
Not to her, though. That's what you're not understanding. And I'm telling you right now, next week I'm making some changes because we're not bringing out our feminine side. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in a fourth person on the panel, and the first celebrity female guest is Sarah Orleski. She's going to join us for this segment to offer a different perspective.
Sure. All right, fine. Done.
Fair enough.
Dear Hayesy-B, our group of friends is really tight, but one couple recently got divorced. We're not picking sides, but doing dinner with my buddy Mike, the divorcee, as a group of 8 tomorrow night. 3 longtime married couples, and he's bringing a Tinder date he's never met. How do we handle the awkwardness of this? Paul from Toronto.
Wow.
Ooh. Dude, I like the way this guy's spicing it up and rattling some cages within the group.
This is a fascination. This is what you need to realize, Paul. Everyone's going to be buzzing about your boy Mike because if you've been in a long-term relationship, you've probably never online dated. You know what Tinder is. You've never done it. You don't even know what world that is.
Yeah.
And this is bringing you out of your comfort zone.
And watch under the table, Paul, because the girls under the table are going to be texting the ex saying, this girl's is just outrageous. On either end of the spectrum.
They might love her. Maybe the Tinder date comes in and she's just incredible. Right? Just a gregarious, awesome person, wants to pick up the check. How's everyone doing? Drinks for everybody. What a scene. Whoa. And then you got a conundrum on your hand because you write your friends, say, hey, I got to be honest, Tinder date, 10 out of 10.
It's kind of cool.
Mike swiped right. He may have hit a grand slam here. Wow. I think you embrace it, man. It's a little spice, a little bit different. You got to hope that you got a good connection here because if it goes the other way and it's a gong show,
I think you got it, guys. Yeah. I like the spicy idea, Hayes, but I think you got to sit Mike down and say, amigo, you can't risk this going sideways. You got to do a coffee first, and then a J game, and then a nice dinner, and then maybe you move into this situation. Mm-hmm. You cannot roll the dice on this because if this goes sideways, you might be eaten by yourself in your parents' basement, eating a pizza. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're going to end up with. You got to get this right. You can't take the chance here.
Well, he's taking it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Too, the Tinder date will this be the first time you lay eyes on this person?
First time.
You see a photo. I mean,
that's my point. Like I don't know. I've never been on these sites, but I would suspect that it's everybody either photoshops their picture or something.
You're calling
Jamie,
catfish?
It's a great point because on her end, she's got to be saying, "Excuse me, Mike, I'm not going to meet all of your circle of friends on the first go around here. Like, why would you put me in that position? I might hate you, let alone all your friends."
Right.
If people lie, for the most part, people always embellish their looks, their pictures, Instagram, filters, all of that. And you're expecting something, player X and player Y walks in. You're like, whoa. You just never know. And vice versa. If Mike's lying about that he's 6'2" and he's 5'3", and he gets up from the table and she eats an apple off his head, like it's not going to go well. Put it that way.
You're right.
You've got to be careful. And now you're going to bring that person into a scenario where it's so uncomfortable, like it'll make everybody else uncomfortable too.
It's gonna be, I wish I could be there. Make it a table for 10. I'll bring my wife. I want to see
just
this
to people watch, just to actually be.
I need to know more.
Yeah, we want some feedback on Monday.
Feedback on this, man. What else do we have?
Dear Hayesy-B, my one buddy who will remain nameless has been down in the dumps for a while. No girl, no job, bad place. The one thing he has going for him is his birthday weekend bash that I host every year. Pool party, and it's awesome. He rocks a Speedo and a Hugh Hefner robe and gets absolutely annihilated, which really creeps out the ladies. My wife has laid down the hammer and said, we're going to host, but you can't do that anymore. How do I handle this? Concerned friend and husband. So this guy goes Frank the Tank, and the wife doesn't like it. I think you got to respect her wishes and say, keep your clothes on, keep your junk together, and there's no more horsing around.
Yeah, what's tough is the detail where it's like this guy's down, like he's in a bad place. And
And
this
you
is
know
his
what
big
he
night.
wants to do on a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
Blow off steam.
Exactly. But like the Speedo, the Hugh Hefner vibe, I don't know what this guy's thinking anyway. I mean, unless he thinks he's being funny, that's probably what he's thinking. Is, hey, it's a funny thing. I'm the birthday guy and we're, pool party. But if you get to a point where you go over the top and you start creeping the ladies out,
it's awkward.
So you got to talk to him. I think you got to say, listen, you got to get a swimsuit. You got to put the robe away. Have fun. Like, do whatever you want. That's why we're hosting. It's a pool party. We're all adults here. But you got to be delicate because, again, it sounds like this guy, like, no job, no girlfriend or anything. Like, this is it. He's probably had this circle for a while thinking, I'm the star of the show. I'm going to play like Hugh or play like Hef. Meanwhile, little does he know, the other host, his wife, is like, I don't want that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. Got
to have a chat, though, man. You got it.
It's a heart-to-heart saying you can't do it. Do whatever you want, but you can't dress like that.
Isn't a simple combo enough?
Away.
Yeah, just
no robe.
Like, you know
the
what?
Robe is creepy.
Go get him a normal bathing suit and say, let's just act like normal people here. You don't have to do the Frank the Tank routine, right?
Right.
We don't need it anymore. We've all seen it. It's funny, but it's just not happening
Exactly.
anymore.
It was funny when we were, 23, 24. That was hilarious. Now we're all married and, we're older now. We don't need it. Okay?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Is that it? We got that was a good one. That was a pretty good run.
Very good.
That was a good run. I thought our
helpful.
answers were great. And next week we're going to debut a female insight, Sarah Orleski. We're going to ask her to join us to offer some different perspective.
I like that idea. I like because I was talking to my guy Jack at Copperwood today, and he said that he's a big fan and he listens to Dear Hayesy-B, and he knew it was coming up. And he said what he's been doing is he and his buddy they'll listen to what the letter says. And then pause, and then they'll give their answers. So they're playing along, Dear Hayesy-B.
I love that.
It's a board game. It's
a board
play
game.
along at home.
And then see what we said. And then he was running it through the ladies in the pro shop, too, being like, what do you think of this stuff? And he did give us one feedback, or I guess the ladies, vicariously through Jack. So the name Larry, we came up with that about a month ago. No fly zone. They just said, no, if your name's Larry, it's just not a good scene.
You're done.
Yeah.
So even if the guy was drop dead gorgeous and dressed like to the nines, if his name's Larry, he's out.
Well, and that's what Jack said. He's like, well, what if it's Brad Pitt? And the lady said, Brad Pitt's named Brad Pitt. He's not named Larry, which is great answer. Great answer. So,
I love it.
we're going to get Sarah Orleski in. You can play along at home. You can do it all with Dear Hayesy-B.
We're going to go through everybody.
Yes.
Lindsay Hamilton, Tessa, Kara, they're
Julia,
all going to help out.
Julia Teixeira,
all of it.
We'll get everybody in. I love that idea.
Good. I love it.
Yep. All right, there you go. All right, we'll come back with our best bets. Brought to you by FanDuel. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Take my breath.
Mailed in Fridays brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. From tip-offs to tie bites and puck drops to pizza, BP's elite lineup of apps, wings, and ice-cold beers always dialed in for game time. Hustle into your local BP tonight. What a night for Boston Pizza, man. This is a patio night. Got hockey, baseball, basketball. Thing of beauty. You got a golf tournament down there. Scheffler was, I think, 5 under today. He's in contention. So,
and that video is whatever goes down with that. Like how those, and I don't know if we saw all on that video, but it's like, what are we doing here?
Looks
all the
fishy.
garbage things going
Doesn't
on in
look
the
good.
world, and this guy's going to be charged with. I don't know.
If that's
getting
it,
charged.
he's
It's
not.
ridiculous.
There's no way. Like they're going to hold up because you don't want to sewer. The cops and the unions are probably involved, and there's all this sticky business, and you already arrested him, and
it's
put
embarrassing.
On a jumpsuit.
It is embarrassing.
Yeah, you might as well stick to it for a bit. But I'm sure there's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'd be surprised if in the end Scheffler doesn't get off completely.
The governor had to, the governor, the chief of police, they all showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like this has gone to the state level. There's not zero chance anything's going to happen. This is going to go away kind of, right now it's noisy. This will go away. 2 months from now, it'll be charges
press
dropped.
release. Yeah, charges drops.
Yeah,
And shout out to all the higher ups in this city because apparently I saw a tweet on CP24. They're looking to possibly ramp up the gardener work. Great idea.
Hey,
maybe
what
think
a
of that
decision.
beforehand. Yeah.
All right.
The
Look at
4
that.
guys that were doing it before, maybe add to that.
Yep.
Maybe
We're really
it won't
getting
take
on it.
7 years. Just a clown show,
We're
an
getting on
absolute
it.
clown show.
Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm on the Rangers money line tonight. Basically a pick of minus 105. A little bit of juice. I like the Rangers. I think they tie it up tonight. I think the Garden's rocking. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and find thousands of ways to play. Please play responsibly. 19 plus. Physically located in Ontario.
You want a side piece on that?
Yeah. Whatever you
5
got.
hunch?
You like Florida? Sure. Throw it on. Throw it on, man. Yeah. There you go. I like New York. I like New York tonight. I like Dallas tomorrow, too. I think that's tied going home back to Edmonton for date night, birthday night in Edmonton. Next week, RBC Canadian Open, Hamilton Golf and Country Club. The field is out. It's going to be jam-packed. We're going to have a great week. It's going to be awesome. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in, TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy your weekends. We're back Monday at...
Go to the Oiler game without her. That's the play. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.